Welcome to episode 24 of the Tri-State Hockey Podcast presented by Novig. I'm your host, Jonny Lazarus, joined by my good friends, as always, Arthur Staple. I should have said longtime NHL reporter like I always do. I messed it up. And Stanley Cup champion, Mike Rupp. I got a feeling this is going to be an off-the-rails show. I'm feeling pretty loopy today. I don't know about you guys.
You could call me Stanley Cup champion one of these days just to mix it up a little bit. I'd take that.
Why not?
I could do that. I'll give you a ring. But yeah, the vibes are definitely a little off, at least for me. I don't know. I just feel like everything is so like, I don't even know what to say anymore about this season. Maybe I've just lost hope or anything or any emotion. But we got a lot to talk about. We haven't even really addressed the Artemi Panarin stuff. We didn't do that last show. As we're recording, it's 2:43 on February 3rd. The roster freeze happens tomorrow. So while we're talking, a trade could happen. Who knows? Which would suck because then we'd have to get on and maybe re-record. But that seems to be the topic of conversation right now around the three teams, aside from what we heard Jack say today in front of the media. So a little bit of drama with Rangers and Devils. Islanders could have potential drama later in the week, depending on how their next two games play out. They got the Penguins tonight at home on a back-to-back and the Devils on Thursday. So some pretty exciting games to look for going forward for all three, or for two of the three teams here. But anything you guys want to start with today?
I was just talking to Vic before you guys hopped on, before we even started the show, and Vic's still live in our bet now with this Islanders little dip here. This might be the slowest four-team chase to the finish line to win a bet ever. I'm kind of depressed. I thought I was like picking out spots to have dinner, like the caller said to us a couple weeks ago. I was ready to show everybody a good time and lord over everyone with the Islanders cruising away with this bet. And now I'm worried, man. I don't know what's happening.
Is Columbus going to swoop in here and just, is it Columbus? You could take a pick of a few teams. Wash. Yeah. I don't know, man. It's, I don't know. To your point, Johnny, like, I just want us to get to a point where we're just talking about exciting hockey for all three teams and all three teams thrive. And then we could like genuinely talk shit and have the fans talking shit. We had a little bit of that last week. It was fantastic. But just like get that, like we're the big dogs right now. It just doesn't. Right now, it's like I don't know what is what. The Islanders, we've been pumping them, and it's felt so foreign to me all season long. We've been pumping them up, and now all of a sudden I'm like, I don't know. Where are they at right now? But I still think the Islanders are in a good spot and will be in the playoffs. But they're certainly making it interesting right now.
Well, if you do want to talk shit and you want to talk shit to not only our faces, but other fans' faces, we are doing a live event on February 19th at the Atrium in the West Village in New York City. We're going to book a guest. We haven't locked in a guest just yet, but we'll be doing a live show, not only Tri-State Hockey, but also Morning Cup of Hockey. So it'll be a lot of fun in New York City. Hopefully we get all three fan bases to show up, the Islanders, the Rangers, and the Devils. There are, I think, 2 free drink tickets that come with it, so you can come hang out, have a beer. Some giveaways as well with our sponsor Parasso. It's the New York Hockey Night for Daily Faceoff presented by Parasso. So it should be a really fun night. I'm really excited to be in person with you guys. We haven't done this show in person yet, so that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah, we hope everyone can make it out. And if you guys have any words to say about it quickly, I'll let you talk about the live event quick before we jump into Rangers, which we'll start with today.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome to be around the fans, and I feel like with the combine the drink tickets, if we had a little voicemail, like a phone booth that people could go in and call in and record stuff, that would be just like a photo booth at a wedding where people just like duck out, talk some shit, and we play it back. That would be, let's get on that Daily Face-Off.
We probably will take like live questions, I would think. Right?
Oh yeah.
We'll do like a Q&A and stuff. Yeah. People will be able to ask questions live. That'll be fun.
Nice.
But let's get into Rangers talk. We didn't really get into Artemi Panarin last week, like we mentioned. Seems like there's a lot of different teams now in the mix. Tampa Bay appears to be or become a front runner in the conversation. I'm not going to lie. I'm not surprised. Like I did Daily Faceoff Live 2 weeks ago, and I thought Tampa made so much sense for Panarin, especially with this team's window right now. But it seems like history is repeating itself. The Rangers put out a letter in 2018. It's Tampa that gets the guys like McDonough and JT Miller, and now, fast forward 8 years later, it's Tampa Bay Lightning again in the mix for Artemi Panarin. Arthur, I want to go to you first. Like, where do you think he ends up, and what do you think this package is really going to be? Is it more likely to be a Brock Nelson return, or more likely to be a Claude Giroux to Florida return, like we saw, Owen Tippett go back the other way? What do you make of this?
I think with so many teams in it, you'd think there'd be some competitive packages, but it just sort of feels like right now with him sitting out, and they've got this 4 o'clock deadline tomorrow. Before then, you got to sit on it. And obviously, when you say deadline, he doesn't have to move by tomorrow. He could very well still be a Ranger beyond that, which would feel certainly disappointing if it goes into the kind of the back half after the Olympic break. But I guess you'd have a little bit more clarity after a couple more games whenever he gets back. But I think the field of teams is so wide now. It really seems like it's in Artemi Panarin's court, and Paul Theophanis, his agent. They're sorting through all these things. I don't know that the offers are going to get that much better if he just looks through these choices, which we've talked about and the insiders have all talked about. There's the kind of the extension bucket and there's the rental bucket. If he says, okay, I'm willing to forego the extension, let's just do rental, that might actually help Chris Drury get a better package, because all the teams that want to extend him, maybe a few of them drop out, but some of them will still be in it, and you'd have a legitimate throw the doors open to the best teams in the league right now: Colorado, Dallas, Edmonton, Vegas, maybe Minnie, Tampa, obviously, Carolina in the East. Then you've got yourselves a bidding war. If he sticks to his guns and says, I only want to move once and I want to sign an extension, a lot of those good teams that are really gunning for a cup this year might drop out, and suddenly you're left with some collection of San Jose, LA, maybe Wash, although it doesn't sound like that's really a fit. Maybe Detroit, although who knows what kind of fit that is. You're suddenly looking at a different group of teams. So I'm curious to see, if Panarin's camp makes a call on this before tomorrow and says, yes, let's move ahead, then it seems like whatever offers are on the table are the ones that are here, and we don't know what the return would be, but it seems kind of static. Maybe if it goes after the break and he says, I'll go to a rental team and try to win a cup this year and figure out the contract stuff in the summer, then you got a bidding war. And I think that might make things a little bit more exciting. So, who knows? They've, considering with all these teams in it, they've kept it, both sides, Panarin's camp, Rangers, and whoever's been in on it. It's been pretty quiet. We've all been left with kind of like, what do you think about this team? What do you think about that team? But not a ton of concrete stuff out there yet, which has made it a little more interesting.
Rupp, or anything on Panarin?
Yeah, it seems like there's a longer list than maybe we thought at the beginning. Not that every team wouldn't want to add Artemi Panarin. I think a lot would, and maybe the understanding or the thought process early on was that he was only interested in a couple options. But it sounds like there's a lot of teams, especially in that rental department, that are looking. You're hearing Vegas. You're hearing even potentially signing an extension in like a Seattle. Now, I don't know what that means to the Panarin camp, what they want to do, but these are some other teams I didn't necessarily think about would be options for him. So there's no shortage, I believe, of options, and that probably makes this even more difficult because you're going to have rental options, you're going to have extension options, and like Arthur said, you've got the hammer belongs to the player, and he doesn't. Tomorrow 4 p.m. doesn't really mean anything to him. So there is time after the Olympics. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Panarin Watch goes or hits social media and there's a big move before that deadline tomorrow. I want to ask you guys this though, because this is interesting to me. And I know that every negotiation and processes like this are always different. What do you think it looks like? Is it the team talking to other teams and then coming back and saying, these are deals that we have in place, what would you approve? Or is it just waiting on what team would you be willing to go to and kind of assess where things are at? Because it's that to me is a big difference on what the return would be for Artemi Panarin.
Well, nothing happens until Panarin approves it, right? So I would think they need Panarin to basically
like the
sign
chicken
off.
And the egg, though. It's kind of like the chicken and the egg, right? Like, I don't know, Arthur, what do you think?
I mean, I imagine that, like you do with any guy with a no move or no trade clause, you're negotiating a trade in a vacuum. If you're the GM, you have to try to get the best return back. And then you go to the guy and say, are you willing to do this? I'm sure there are other cases like this one where Panarin's already turned down an extension and everyone says like, we're at the end here. And you have the big conversation and you say, okay, we're going to sit you out, or we're going to look to move you. And so then maybe the contact is a little bit more constant, but I imagine it's a lot of juggling for a GM, for Chris Drury here, where he's dealing with the other GMs. He's kind of looping Paul Theophanis in, guy who's been an agent for a long, long time. And then you're having these conversations. You let the agent and the team that's made a proposal talk about an extension. So that is another complicating factor. I feel like this has been going on for maybe even a lot longer than we've been led on to believe, because it's such a complicated situation with all the teams. If Panarin had said a month ago, I'll go anywhere, rental, extension, whatever, I think then this would have been done by now. You would have just taken the best offer, and he says yes, and he goes wherever. And this situation where Panarin has a lot of choice, and even within that, now I'm not just talking staying or going, his choice is extension, just going, just deciding between those two things. If he's a hesitant type guy and is doesn't process these things to a certain point, you got a lot of dead time in there too, and I think that can slow things down. So the fact that he's not playing, I feel like kind of a smart move to push this along by Chris Drury and the Rangers, because this guy loves to play. Say whatever you want to say about him in the playoffs, this, that. Playing seems to bring him the most joy. And so I think taking that away and saying we're going to wait until we've got a deal puts a little fire under them and says, like, all right, we've done our part. We've had conversations with all these teams. We've presented you with all these options. You got to make a decision. So if it goes beyond tomorrow, I wonder about there being a little bit of animosity is the wrong word, but a little bit of frustration on the Rangers' part that they've done everything that they can do to accommodate this situation. And now he's kind of saying like, I can't decide. That takes it to a different dimension. Obviously, you've still got, 11 days or so beyond the Olympics that you can restart all this stuff. And maybe there's a little bit more urgency there for some other teams. They'll up their offers a little bit. But I think the goal is to get this done now, because you got a lot of other business decisions to make if you're Chris Drury.
That's the concern, though, for me. Like, what if he just decides over the Olympic break, I don't want to go? Like, he's very well in his right to do that, and finish the year in New York and reassess in the summer and figure out where he wants to move his family. Like, that could very well happen, and that's what I'm starting to get nervous about, is that could end up happening. Yeah.
It definitely can. I for whatever reason, don't believe that will be the case.
I don't think so either, but there's a part of me that's like starting to get a little concerned.
Yeah, I mean, because you got some heartstrings to attach to this. That's why you're feeling that way.
For sure.
But I think that Arthur kind of nailed it too. Like this, he's a hockey player. He wants to play. I think there's enough options out there. And there's probably enough rental options where if he doesn't know, because I would have to assume, reading between the lines, like that's where the biggest decision is. Do I want to sign at X place and extend? Because that's where it gets muddy here in this process. Because I know a lot of people are throwing around like the LA Kings. Well, the LA Kings, that's great. I mean, it's LA, you know what to expect there, but you're also trying to evaluate what they are moving forward and what that looks like for an LA Kings team. And really, if you eliminate this deadline here and where his contract ends, I mean, you have till July 1st to do that. So, I mean, and even after that, I mean, when usually those big free agents, we've seen you holding camp at different places and teams coming to you in the offseason, like, you know what I mean? So like, why would you jump into anything right now for that type of extension to the point where you go on a rental? To me, it's for an absolute contender. And it's all the listeners, the three of us, everybody in the world can come up with who we believe contenders are and who we don't believe contenders are. I think a rental situation would only happen to a true contender. So there's some teams that I eliminate from that immediately. Maybe some don't. Maybe he doesn't. But that's kind of where it's at. But I don't know. I just have a weird feeling that something happens. I don't think he rides this till July 1st.
Well, they also said that Panarin's going to sit out every game before the break. If they come back from break and he's not traded, is he playing? Like, it's a weird situation. I don't really know what to make of it now.
I wonder if you're a team that wants to trade for him and he hasn't played in a month.
Yeah.
Like, it's a tough spot to jump right back in when you need a guy, especially if you spend some assets and you're a cup contender. So I think there's urgency on the trading team side, and you'd hope, I guess, again, if you're Chris Drury, that would sweeten an offer. But again, they can sweeten the offers all they want. It's if the player doesn't want to do it with that team or doesn't want to go, say, to a rental team, then you kind of move back a few squares. So yeah, there's a lot of different facets to this, and I feel like, it's been so long, we've all explored kind of all of them. It is funny to see a team like Tampa or a team like Seattle kind of crop up on the radar and be like, boy, we've really gotten to like half the league at this point to see who wants to get this guy, and everybody really wants a piece of it.
I'm just starting to, yeah, I don't know. I thought after this news dropped, he would have been traded within 48 hours, and it's really starting to drag out a little bit. So
it did feel like that, just the kind of, and that maybe the track record we've seen in the past. I wonder though too, it's like you mentioned about Chris Drury being difficult on him. I mean, there's a lot more moves to be had than that. So, you know what I mean? Like that's the biggest name one. But you think about the time and that you're on these calls, you're fielding these things, you're trying to navigate through this. Well, you're trying to maximize some other situations, find out and figure out which way you're going to go. I mean, there's the way it sounded like there's going to be a bunch of moves. I don't think all the attention's being given to this. So probably some sleepless nights here for Chris Drury as far as how he's navigating through this.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of all we had as far as Ranger topics go, but we do have a voicemail from Chris. So we'll play that right now if we can, Vic.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This one's more for Johnny. Not really much of a question, more of a bit ramble, and just to see what you guys kind of think. But, there's a lot up in the air with what this team is going to look like. One guy I think of is Braden Schneider, could be on the move. One guy I would try and move off of, not for any reason in particular, but maybe just to actually commit to this retool that Drury has talked about. I try and move Will Borgen as well. But the reason I'm really calling to see your thoughts is a guy who spent some time in Hartford actually in his career, and I thought would be on this Rangers blue line at one point, is Darren Raddysh. I'm curious if you guys think that there could be a possibility and a serious possibility that there could be a reunion there. And I think it is more likely if you move off of both Schneider and Borgen, considering you have Scott Morrow. I know you don't really have much after that, but if they are serious about Scott Morrow getting playing time, I mean, above that, I would love to bring Raddysh back. Just curious what you guys might think about that. Thanks.
It's interesting. It's a good question, Chris, because it seems like Tampa can't really afford him right now. Like that's their biggest issue. Raddysh is making $975,000 this year, and he's a UFA this summer. He's turning 30 years old. So it's not like the Rangers are getting younger if they go sign Raddysh, which I think is something that most Rangers fans want. They want to get younger, but if we are talking about a retool, then yeah, going out and getting a guy like Raddysh makes sense. But here's the other thing. If you have Adam Fox, Raddysh probably won't run the power play. So if you're getting him for a second unit, which, yeah, is good and all, but the Rangers' top unit usually takes up 1 minute and 15 seconds, I would say. He's a fine defenseman. Is he – I don't know. I'm having trouble with this one. Like, I don't know if that's the best route to go in because you might end up overpaying him too. Like Raddysh – is having a career year, but has he shown this throughout his entire career up to 29 years old? It's a tricky situation for me. I don't know if it's worth it for the Rangers to do it.
No, I agree that he's not, I wouldn't call him a power play merchant, but the guy, he loads up that big shot, and good on him for, he's a guy who was in the minors in the Rangers organization, in a couple of different organizations, and never really got a sniff. And he's clearly figured out, whether it's that Tampa no-name prospect magic that they seem to weave with basically 2 out of every 3 guys that show up in their organization and turn into real NHL players. He's having an insane season, and he's going to get paid, whether it's 4 times 4, 4 times 5, something like that. But yeah, I don't think he's a fit for the Rangers. If he was a lefty, maybe a guy with a little bit more mobility, I could see it. But even if you get rid of Will Borgen and Braden Schneider, I don't think he's a guy you want to put behind Adam Fox. I think Adam Fox is who he is, and you get different kind of guys on the right side behind him.
Yeah. He's had, though, like, I think all the attention he's getting this year, deservingly so. Let's not forget what he's done the last 2 years too. I mean, he's has like 33 points, 37 point seasons for a back end. Like, that's pretty good. You know what I mean? As far as being a depth piece, and that's generally what he is. He just had to do more this year, and he's getting more reps in situational play this year. So he's going to have the ability to go get paid. I don't think that will necessarily be with the New York Rangers, but then you guys both mentioned a name that I'm just lobbing out there. And what is the future of Adam Fox? Like, we haven't really discussed it. We don't know. Only Adam Fox knows that, and the New York Rangers know that. But there was some weird stuff, the way things kind of went down this year, that I wonder how that relationship is moving forward. Now, in a world where you possibly are hearing and listening for things on Adam Fox, who has a no move, could that be a replacement? Like, that's the only way I see that working. And I don't see that happening. I'm just saying that would be a way to make it work as far as Darren Raddysh in a Ranger sweater. Other than that, no, he's not going to go sign somewhere. Players not even going to want to do that, where you have Adam Fox playing in front of him, just on that power play. So yeah, I don't know. I like it, but he's going to have a ton of options. I just don't see the Rangers being one of them. I
agree. I'm trying to make sense of it. Like, I think Darren Raddysh has certainly earned himself. What contract would he even get? Like, is he going to make?
I like the numbers there, Arthur. I think that's going to be like that, though. I don't think it's going to be. I think some people maybe are jumping the gun and going off what he's. I mean, he's going to have 20 goals this year. So
yeah, he's at 16 right now.
They're going to go based off that. But I think that he's been really
is he
solid.
Make $7 million? You think?
No. I think he's going to be in that. I think he's going to be, like Arthur said, probably in that 5 range, maybe somewhere in there. And I don't think you're going to get a long term, but I mean, maybe you will. See, that's where those teams that are not good are going to be able to win potentially a player like that over. We'll give you more term at this. So I don't know. It'll be very interesting. I think in Darren Raddysh world, winning a Stanley Cup this year would, and that team certainly capable of doing that, that would open it all up, because you've itched that scratch, and now you just go get paid. And that's the one big thing for him too. And I'm not going to speak for him, but he's a guy that's making 900, like you said. This is your one shot. This is your one absolute shot. And if he can win this year, now all of a sudden, I think you literally just say to your agent, go field me the longest term, the most money. I'm going to be on vacation. Let me know who I'm going to.
And he's earned it. He's earned it too.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, anything else Ranger related, guys, before we move into to Devils here? I think we're going with next.
I'll throw out a quick number from our buddies at Clearside Hockey. I was just looking this up earlier today. And granted, the team has obviously been in the dumps for a couple of months now, but without Igor Shesterkin, Jonathan Quick sits second to last in the league since Christmas. I think it's minus 12.5 goals saved above expectation. And he was so good last year. He was so good at the beginning of this year, but clearly, at his age, his stage of his career, he's a number 2 goalie, and having to be the number 1 has been tough. Having to play behind the team that's got no juice at all is even tougher. And I'd kind of, when you think about the guys that could move, he's obviously pending UFA. He might retire at the end of this year at age 40. If if you wanted to go chase another cup, I don't even know with those kind of numbers if there'd be many takers. So it's funny. It's not funny for him, but the bottom two guys during that stretch since Christmas are him and Sergei Bobrovsky. And you look at Florida and why they're not in the playoffs. Bobrovsky's been the worst goalie by those metrics all season long. And so you'd think all that work that he's gotten over the years and his age has finally caught up with him. But pretty wild to see two guys that are surefire Hall of Famers the minute they retire sitting down there at the bottom by a long stretch behind everybody else in that kind of that goalie metric that I like to look at the most. So
yeah,
just wanted to note that, and we'll see who else from the Rangers, if anybody else goes besides Panarin before March 6th, but I wouldn't think it's going to be Jonathan Quick for a lot of reasons.
No, yeah, me either. Okay, let's move into Devils. Also, good note, Arthur. That was nice. Two big games for the Devils this week. They got the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight at home and the Islanders at home Thursday. Divisional matchups. Obviously, the Devils are trying to cut closer and closer to this point deficit right now. I think they're 7 points back of the Islanders for third in the Metro. So these are huge games, Rupper. You mentioned before, like, they got to find a way to take these games, not only get 2 points, but get 2 points in regulation. Because if teams around them keep winning, their hole is not getting any easier to get out of. So your thoughts on what you've seen from the Devils lately? They're coming off of a 4-1 loss against Ottawa. We haven't talked since that game. We talked about the Nashville game where he sure had the overtime winner. But obviously we can get into that and then into Jack's comments today, which I think is rubbing a lot of fans the wrong way.
Yeah, I think that if those two games, so tonight and Thursday, like you mentioned, Columbus, the New York Islanders, they've got to get 4 points. I mean, that's stating the obvious to keep this alive. But to really kind of speed this along for them in some ways, it's 4 regulation points. I mean, there's just too many teams in between them and a playoff spot right now. We talk about the standings. It seems like it's going to be, and it is right now, a shorter path to get to the top 3 in the Metro than it is to get to that wild card spot, because the Atlantic has just teams that have been playing better. And so I think it starts, for me, it's this Blue Jacket game. This is a must win. Like that to me is what this game is. There's no, I mean, you drop this game in regulation, like I think you're done. Some fans might think they're done already. But I'm not there yet. It's getting there though. And that these two games are just absolutely massive. And there's been a lot of switching around in their lineup, gearing up for this Columbus game. As far as who's playing with who, I don't know which way it's going to go, man. But it all comes down to this. Like these are the next 3 days is the season.
And Columbus is hot right now. I think they're 9-1-0 in their last 10. So not going to be an easy game tonight for the Devils. Arthur, did you mention in a tweet hanging on to Dougie Hamilton?
I talked about what it would look like if they had their version of the letter, which, to Rupper's point, if they lose tonight in regulation, I think that's it. You know, you're essentially 9 points out. If they lose in regulation tonight and the Islanders win in regulation tonight, I feel like there's no digging out of it. Even if they beat the Islanders on Thursday, we talk about whatever it is, 4 points. I know that kind of the old, like 4 points out at Thanksgiving, and you've got like a less than 1 in 3 chance to make the playoffs. About 9 points out with 26, 25 games left. Like you're looking at single digits and maybe even less than a 1% chance of making it. So yeah, I think this is, kind of a referendum on a lot of people inside that room and inside that organization tonight to see if they can dig deep without Jack in the lineup again. There's just a lot of tension around this franchise. It feels like it's been there for months too. Kind of surprised that Jacob Markstrom is getting a start here. Just looking at those goal saved above expectation numbers for the whole season. Jake Allen is a top 12 guy all the way through this year, and Jacob Markstrom's, I think 73rd out of 91. He's a negative in that in the GSAX. So, I understand the point behind it. You've got 2 games in 3 days. You've got 2 older goalies. You want to split them, But I think we've everybody's second guessed a lot of decisions the Devils have made this year, or decisions they haven't made. And this to me is another one where you wonder if you could ride Jake Allen, who over the course of the season has been a lot better than Jacob Markstrom in it. Essentially, this is a game 7 basically tonight. So, I'm surprised to see Markstrom going, and I'm curious to see how this game starts, and if Columbus pumps in 1 or 2 early, how the Devils react, how their fans react. My wife, being the sage that she is, asked me earlier today when we were talking about Jack's comments that we'll get into in a minute. She's like, has any home fan base ever booed 2 brothers in the same season on home ice? So might be finding out when Jack gets back.
That's a reason, though. I think that's kind of a reason you could to boot. You have nothing to say to the fan. You know what I mean? I feel like
let's properly introduce this. Maybe there's some people out there that don't know about this. So
all right, Vic, if we can cue this clip.
The team had a hot start in October, November, December, January dipped a little bit. For fans that have kind of lost faith and looking at the standings, what do you want to tell them that makes them think that this team can go on a run?
I honestly have nothing to say to them, honestly. For us, it's just our group. We got to figure out a way to win more hockey games. And, we got 2 big games here before the break. And then after the break, it's a long time for people to refresh and, gear up for a really good final 25 games, I think it is. So it's on us to, find a way to win more hockey games. And, like I said, that's on us.
Rupper?
So, I mean, I always encourage people to watch the entire interview. I did. And I kind of, when I saw that or got to that point, I was like, ooh, I don't think it was intended the way it's probably being taken. And I think there's a frustration level that we've seen all season long. And we've seen it rear its head in different moments where maybe seems like it's, I don't know, not always, I don't want to say always deserved, but maybe some things are taken out of context and even emphasized more. I don't, if I'm not paying attention as much to what he did say, to me, it bothers me more what he didn't say. There was something that come out, he's not playing. So I think all this took was, you don't have to say that, whatever the circumstance, you don't have to sit there and say, hey, we want the fans. We hope you guys, you don't even have to address the fans, even though that question was kind of asked that. Just say, we've got a lot of work to do, but we believe inside our room. I think that, it's more of the stuff that wasn't said about where this team is at, that they have hope, they have belief. I don't know where you guys are at for it. I know that the fans are upset about it. I don't think it was meant that way, but I don't think he did himself any favors at the same time.
No, I agree. I think, like we were saying pre-show, that's a layup for you to show your love to the fans, say, keep believing in us. We're going to do it for you. And you kind of missed the ball there. But that's that's just kind of Jack being Jack almost, right? We had the conversation not too many episodes ago about what quantifies or qualifies a player to be a veteran. And we talked about Jack's maturity. While people look at how long he's been in the league, I don't know if he's necessarily looked at as a veteran, right? Because of things like this. I don't know. This is just maybe a small example of that. And everyone knows I love Jack Hughes more than almost anyone in the NHL. But this one is just, if you're a Devils fan itching for some sort of hope, I don't think you got it today.
No, you did not. And again, to give him the most benefit of the doubt, the most generous reading, it was a good question. And within that question was, she mentioned some fans that maybe have lost faith. Mm-hmm. And so if Jack seizes on that and says, well, I got nothing to say to the people that don't believe in us, fine. But you got to spin.
That's a good spin.
I just feel like if that's the first thing that you say, which is, I don't have anything to say to them, you are, if Jack was 18, 19 years old still, his first couple of years in the league, the Olympics are on the horizon for him, his first Olympics. He's had a shit season, bad luck with the accident, the freak accident that almost cost him the whole year. This latest minor thing. I understand he's feeling frustrated too, the same way that the fans are, that he hasn't been out there and hasn't been able to impact the team. And the Olympics are right here. If you're a teenage kid who's getting ready for that, I don't fault any young guy like that to be looking a little bit beyond, or just kind of say like, yeah, whatever, to this thing, because it's not going great. The Olympics are the Olympics. I'm super pumped for that. Fine, whatever. Year 7 for Jack? He's got an A on his sweater too. And I understand that, Rupper and I were talking about this, and Rupper's going to get into it, and he's got a good rant coming, and I'm ready for it. But by default, you as the best player, the biggest attention getter, the guy who does the most charity work, the most off-ice work, he's in the most marketing campaigns, you are a leader, you are a veteran, and you got to act like it. And he didn't act like it, even without it being something where he was taking a shot at the fans or dismissing them. If you leave that part out of it, he missed it's a swing and a miss. You're right, Johnny. That's a good way to put it.
I see what you just said there is kind of where I'm at, and I was ho-humming it and kind of going all over the place when you first asked me, Johnny, because I'm trying to get
well, are we
across
making it something it's not? Are we making it something it's not?
That's kind of my point. It's like I don't think I feel pretty good about. I don't believe it was intended to be a shot to the fans. But with that being said, you didn't extrapolate anything else. You didn't say anything else. You know what I mean? And then even when you go on a broader look during that interview, he talked about the Olympics. I just think that there's ways, and he's not the only one. And this is a rant that I'm going to go on at some point. I know it. It's just like a ticking time bomb for me. Mm-hmm. It's been, and I'm not saying this is the situation here with Jack per se, the only one. It's all over the league.
Guys wearing gear and stuff.
In that moment, you get asked about the Olympics right now and the situation of this team and the situation that you're in as an injured player. Say, hey, you know what? I'm going to focus on the Olympics when we get over there to Italy. Right now, we got a huge game tonight. That's it. Just park it. Done. And I just feel like the fan base wants. It almost feels like, in some ways, like you're being gaslit a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, are we crazy?
Not that word.
I can't say that one anymore.
I hate that word. No, I'm watching Tell Me Lies. I'm watching Tell Me Lies with my girlfriend, and gaslighting is the word that always comes up.
So I don't believe that anything was intentional, but like I said, you didn't do yourself any favors, and it's the what wasn't said, and that goes back to what Arthur said. Like, you got to lead. And this was just a dropped moment. Maybe it was you let your guard down, whatever it is. But the fact of the matter, we haven't heard Jack talk barely at all. Yeah. So this isn't like, I can almost understand if he's speaking to the media every single day that just like it becomes redundant and you just turn into a robot. Like, this was a pretty easy question that I think he dropped the ball on.
Yeah. Also, just like, if you are looking at the Devils lineup tonight, right now, and they got Bratt, Cotter, and Mercer as the third line. This is just a daily faceoff. Their top 6 tonight is Meyer, Glass, Brown, Gritsuk, Hischier, Lemonaho. Like, maybe he's just looking at the situation for what it is, and I don't know. Like, Jack is not one to really hide his emotions. I feel like he's not very fake. He's not fake in the media. He doesn't give political answers, and maybe his focus is just on the Olympic. Like, is that it's
that's
tough.
A problem. You gotta learn. That's a problem, though. That's a problem for NHL teams.
You got to learn.
You know what I mean? Like,
and I say that as a 30+ year member of the media.
Yeah,
you got to learn to be fake if you want to be seen as a leader. You can't just say whatever's on your mind. You just can't, because people, it's like a goalie giving up a low danger goal. It's just like, it just makes everybody's shoulders set. Yeah, but you say that, but look at the reaction now. Look, there's Devils fans. These people that I follow.
But I don't think. But
media people that fight.
It wasn't meant that. It was not meant that way, I believe. You know what I mean? It was.
Yeah.
Listen, like, we've seen him how many times in the media, like, come across a certain way. You know what I mean? Like, it's it's just one where I don't know. I don't think it was intended that way. The fan base is taking it, certain fans in the fan base are taking it that way. I can kind of understand their frustration on the season to just be looking for something, but the whole point of it should have been handled differently. And I don't know, just to say that and then really nothing else. That's where it was a problem.
Yeah. I'm trying to see the comments and the reactions from it. Like I want to see what fans have to say about it. Like, I just saw a comment. Gabe Landeskog has never said anything like this, even in our worst seasons.
Well, hold on though. See, but this is where it gets tricky though, because
Gabe's a captain.
Gabe is my. But hold on though. It's this didn't come out of Gabe Landeskog's mouth. But I had a problem with last week. Jared Bednar comes out. Gabe Landeskog is like the prototypical captain. This guy is unbelievable. But Jared Bednar comes out the other day because Landy's been hurt. And he says, Gabriel's doing everything. He's busting his ass to get back for the Olympics. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't believe, again, this is all interpretation and people are going to run with it. Maybe I am here. But I'm thinking to myself, if Colorado wasn't the best team in the NHL, is he not busting his ass to get back for them? You know what I mean? Your NHL team needs to be a priority. And a lot of these situations, it feels very, very secondary. And so that goes with what Arthur's saying here too. Like, I don't know this situation with the injury for Jack. And I know he's going to try to go, it sounds like, Thursday against the Islanders. If that doesn't happen, and if he's playing the first game of the Olympics, Arthur, you put that in your tweet. I think you're bang on. That's not a good look. It's not a good look. And again, not the only team. Many teams. And know where it's going to get even more interesting, and where we're going to get even more into the weeds on this is when when the Olympics is done. Are we going to have some players on non-playoff teams just say they're done?
Yeah.
That's terrible leadership. Terrible leadership. You can't have it. And I'm not saying that's going to happen here. I hope the Devils are in the playoffs. But across the board, example number one is Willie Nylander. I think Toronto's out. Is Willie going to shut it down after Olympics? Like, this is where leadership, like, that's how man, you're in it with the boys. You ride or die till the end. You know what I mean? Like, it gets a little, I don't know. I think we've got a lot of drama coming as this Olympics closes, closing out the season.
Mm-hmm. I'll put a bow on this Jack Hughes stuff. And again, leaving aside the specifics of this, maybe we made too much of it, but let's say we go into the off season. Tom Fitzgerald is out. A new GM comes in.
Here we go.
Whole new regime. And your first meeting as a new GM, whoever it is, or your first meeting, if Brendan Shanahan is the new team president of the Devils, his first meeting is with Jack Hughes. Are you going to sit there with Jack Hughes, knowing what you know, seeing these little clips? Are you going to say, hey, man, it's your team. Like, we want you to keep doing what you're doing? Or is someone going to say to Jack, it's a new day here. It's a new regime. It's time to buckle down and be a leader of this team. I'm curious to see how that plays out. Even if Fitz stays, do they need to take a different approach with Jack and say, you can be however you want to be. We love that you're you and you do what you do off the ice and on the ice. But maybe we need to see more of it on the ice and less off the ice because we're not getting the results in either side. That's all I'll say. And that's a conversation that I imagine might be coming in that organization where they've Jack has ascended to superstar status from day one. And I don't know that between the injuries and whatever nonsense we're talking about here and not being available and not having a lot of success as a team, I wonder if it's fair to say for any GM, whether it's Fitz or a new guy, maybe we need a little different approach from Jack now that he's going to be going into year 8 or whatever it is next season.
Well, honestly, that's what I'm seeing from Devils fans that I'm close with. Like one of my best friends, Lewis, I talk to almost every day about the Devils, about hockey. I've put you guys on FaceTime with him. He's sending me Jack and Luke trade proposals. like he's Devils fans are fed up. Listen, it's a long time of this, and again, it's one playoff win. Like, Devils fans are talking about shaking up the core, trying something different. Everyone uses this Kachuk-Huberdeau trade as the example. Like, and if the Devils aren't going to be able to get Quinn, go trade Jack to Minnesota and get Bolt. Like, that's what Lewis, it's like he gave me the Boldy and Wallstat for Markstrom, Luke, and Jack trade proposal. And I was like, no way, but I think that's where Devils fans are at. I think the perfect way to put it is they're fed up. They are just fed up. And I don't really know what else to say, but we do have a voicemail from a Devils fan named Dan. So why don't we play that to put a bow on this conversation for today?
What's going on? I just want to get your thoughts about the shakeup to the roster of the New Jersey Devils. I read Arthur's X post. He had some good takes, but somehow disagree. Like, I think the defense should stay intact. Honestly, I'd keep Dougie with his 2 years left rather than having to watch Nemec go through his growing pains. I think when the D-core is fully healthy, they're big, strong, and mobile. You figure at the end of Dougie's 2 years, one of Salayev, Edwards, Casey, or Orlov will be ready to take that spot rather than having to deal with Simone Bonehead Nemec. Trade Nemec, try to get a winger. I agree, trying to find a suitor for Timo's contract is going to be tough. But there has to be a shakeup to the core. I think one of the wingers, Brad or Timo, are gone. Mercer's gone. I'm keeping Glass. I don't care if he's shooting at a ridiculous percentage, as Arthur mentioned. You look at his goals, most of them are greasy goals. It's not like he's picking corners every night. You need center depth. I just want to get your take on what moves you think will be made to the New Jersey Devils that will also allow them to be competitive next year. And is that too much to ask for, to think that they're going to be competitive again? I don't think that we're going to have to enter another decade rebuild, as some fans are saying. Thank you.
If I may, quick, first of all, thank you, Dan. That's exactly the shit I was just talking about. You want to get rid of Timo and Jesper, but you want to keep Cody Glass? That's where we're at with Devils fans? Like, that's what's going on. That's what's going on here. So, Arthur, it's all you. But I just wanted to point that out. That's what I'm hearing every day.
I was just kind of spitballing, like if they lose tonight, like if they lose tonight and they lose Thursday, obviously the season's done. So when we get out of the break, they've got 11 days to make some decisions about their future, at least as far as the deadline is concerned. The first decision, obviously, is ownership staying the course with the current front office. And if that's a yes, and Tom has the green light to remake this team, then you got to be aggressive. You got to, there's not a ton of teams that are like in there selling that have some of the people that they could sell right now to kind of do that retool. And yes, I do think, Dan, that they could be good next year. You still have both Hughes brothers. Hopefully they're healthy. You still have, they're aging goalies, but they're not the main reason why this team is where it is. It seems like they have good enough pieces to be able to compete next year, just like they had to compete this year before it all fell apart. So, if I'm the GM of this team and we're out of it, I am trading Cody Glass. I don't know that I want to invest a lot more time in a really good third line center who's shooting whatever it is, 17.5% when he's a career 10% guy. I would love to trade Timo Meier. I don't think that's happening. I would never trade Jesper Bratt, at least not now. Mm-hmm. And I would move Dougie Hamilton. I don't think you can do a whole lot without moving a major contract, and you're not trading Jack Hughes before the deadline. Can't really move Meier, so that only leaves one guy, and you've already gone down the road a little bit and exploring some trade options. And the way that he's playing, he will get a decent return, and there's a chance you could get all that money off the books. So I'm not as enamored with their D-core, the way that they've played team defense. Obviously, the injuries, Pesci was out, Hamilton was out. They had to makeshift a lot. Now Luke is out. They haven't really been at full strength. Kovacevic was out. He's back, not playing that great. But they've got a logjam there, and you got to move somebody. And Dougie is getting older. He's got the biggest contract. So I think that's a no-brainer, despite the way that he's been playing, that you do need to move on from him, even if you're going to have some growing pains with Nemitz going forward. So I don't know what you think, Johnny and Rupper, but if you're going full sail, you send out your letter in your mind. You don't actually do it if you're not the Rangers. Mm-hmm. But So you send the letter out.
I don't want no more fucking letters from any.
Yeah.
No more. I don't want to see any more fucking letters. We understand you're adjusting on the fly. Like, we don't need a letter to state this.
Yeah, we all know. Just send
you're
the text
doing
all
you're
the
doing
GMs.
your job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So who's on your guys' list of we're selling everybody? Is it Mercer? Is it Dougie? Is it all of the above? What do you got, Rupper?
It's a sad, I'm not really sad episode.
I'm not really hot stoving it till tonight's game happens. I'm still keeping one eye on the prize. We'll see what happens next 72 hours. But I will say this is what we've been talking about all year, and I think this is where there's genuine concern from the fan base when you look at the roster matrix. All the no moves, it's a problem.
Yeah,
like,
Brad, Timo, and Dougie.
I don't care who you are, it's a problem. And so the only ones that don't have it are the brothers, Dawson Mercer, Simone Nemec. Basically, those are the guys that have value. And if you really want to infuriate the fan base, Nico Hischier has a 10-team no trade list. So you have 21 teams that you could speak to on him. I don't think the core needs a massive shakeup. They need to be healthy, and I know that you can't predict that. For the last 2 seasons, injuries have derailed a lot with this team. When they've been healthy through stretches, they've been a really good hockey club. At this point, you're pot committed. I don't think you're shaking that core right now. I think you're pot committed to that core. I don't see anybody stepping up to Timo Meier deal. I think that I'm okay with that deal. Let me rephrase that. I would love it if it looked a little bit different, but as far as maybe what he does and his production and stuff like that, but that's something where I think he's going to pay dividends if and when that team gets to the playoffs. But to me, I just don't believe the back end. I just don't believe at any given time you can have Luke, Dougie, and Simone Nemec in the lineup at the same time. You can't. You just can't. And it's pretty clear who their guy that they believe is the puck moving offensive guy, and that's Luke. And I agree with that. Now, can you move Dougie? That's been the question the whole time. He's playing great right now, but if you can't, if he's playing like this, you're fine. It's Nemec. Nemec can get a little bit of a return here. So for me, it's Nemec and Mercer. Those are the two that will get you something in return. But the only problem is Simone Nemec, you wonder what's he going to look like if he goes somewhere else. And then also, Dawson Mercer's 24 years old. It's a pretty important piece of this team too. He can play all situations. He can play all positions. But that's just the truth of where the roster's at right now.
Well, I think they also got to decide.
Johnny, Rupper's fully running it back if he's GM. What do you got?
Mm-hmm. Well, that was my
no changes for Rupper.
That was my so here's I'm gonna sneeze. So just if I sneeze, just give me a break. But I'll try to fight it in my brain. I had this reply. Actually, I think it's from the same Twitter account that maybe posted the clip of Jack. But I had a reply to an old clip that I had in 2023 saying how I feared the Devils. It was March 7, 2023. I said, I want the Devils to win the Metropolitan Division because I don't want the Rangers to play them in round 1, which aged beautifully, by the way. But the response from, I think, Mr. White is the account. And if it wasn't him, I'm giving him credit. But he said the Rangers beating the Devils was actually the worst thing that could have happened to the Devils because they thought they became contenders when they did not. And, that following year, a lot of the predictions were the Devils to win the Cup final. I remember listening to NHL Network, ESPN, TNT. Guys were people were picking the Devils.
Said that. I never said that.
I don't know if you said it, but people were picking the Devils to win the Cup or at least go to the Cup final and win the East the following year. That doesn't just happen. You don't just win one playoff series and all of a sudden become a contender. So I think what I would do right now is seriously decide. And I've kind of been saying this, I feel like for most of our shows this year, the Devils core is young. A lot of them are under 30 years old. Jack is 24. Nico is 27. Brad, I think, is around 27. These are still relatively young guys. Do you decide, are you win now? Is this win now? Do you think this team is win now? because it sure as shit doesn't look like it. So don't act like it. I feel like the narrative around the team has been this win now, when there still is a lot of time. Like, are the Devils looking to build a dynasty, or are they looking to build a team that can win a Stanley Cup? I think those are two different things.
The problem is they're not making the playoffs. They haven't, and that's where it's so like I understand win now might be a little extreme of not knowing who this team and what they exactly are, but they should be a playoff team. Like
for sure.
That should
but the
be,
caller
they
said
be
to be competitive next year. Like you gotta, I think, just keep building it and not necessarily rush it. It feels like maybe they're rushing what isn't truly there. I don't know.
I don't know. But I mean, they were 8-1, 9 games into the season. They looked like they were going to be the East team to beat. And
you know how many times I thought the Rangers were winning the Cup in October?
I mean,
yeah. Well, like here's an example. Here's an example of them, and this is just the Devils are a team when they're healthy and you let them play comfortably, they will dominate you. They'll make you look silly. They've been like that for like 3 years now, where if you allow them to play comfortable, but if you make them deviate or force them to get off their game, that's where they struggle. So like tonight's a perfect example. You're going against a team, the Columbus Blue Jackets. They got no Marchenko. They got their best offensive player not in the game. They have big bodies through that lineup and they can skate. These types of games scare me for the Devils because that's an area that they have not really improved at over the last number of years. And a lot of times that ends up being playoff hockey too. So even if this team did get in, I still don't know about the blend of the roster to be able to push back in the playoffs. So like tonight's going to be a good example. Like this is a must win. We established that. See how they match up against some big boys where they're going to basically throw the puck in the corner and let's see who comes out with it. Like that's an area of the game that the Devils are not very good at.
They got to bring back Miles Wood.
Get a good look at him in this one,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts? The Devils here before we shift to Islanders. This has just been this episode sucks. It's so sad. So sad. Even the Islanders, who we usually lean on for the positivity, like they've lost 2 games in a row, and now they're falling back a little bit in the standings. Do you want to lead Islanders with a voicemail? We have a voicemail from Brett. Should we lead with a voicemail here? Unless there's a topic that you want to. Okay, I guess we're gonna do it, Vic.
Hey, it's Brett from LI again. I just want to jump into this mix with Sam talking shit about that anonymous caller. I'm telling him to pound sand, which I get, but the Rangers aren't cursed. The Rangers just suck right now. And why do they suck? It's because the GM fumbled the ball. You guys have a Vezina caliber goalie. You have a Norris Trophy caliber defenseman. You have one of the elite goal scorers in the league. You got the pieces. The rest of it should be easy. But he didn't understand culture. He didn't understand how the team works together. And he fumbled the football. And now he's sending out letters talking about what, we're not a rebuild, a retool. Next letter will be a reboot. It's just reruns. And it's just, Drury, he missed it. He missed the mark. And frankly, when it comes to the Devils, I think that's a really good team over there. And I'm hoping Fitz goes Drury on that lineup and makes some bad decisions because they have a really bright future. And within fandom, like, we don't want to be patient, but it takes time for teams to gel together. Look at Edmonton. 2 back-to-back cups, haven't gone over the hump. Florida loses to Tampa, comes back, wins the cup. Like, it takes time for teams to go figure it out. And the Devils are young and they're trying to figure it out. And I hope Fitzy implodes that team and we have the same conversation. As for my Islanders, super fun right now, obviously. We're exceeding expectations, swept the Rangers. We're not shooing for the playoffs, but we're fighting hard. We play hard every night. I don't really have a question. This has been a fun season. It's fun hearing everyone implode.
Yeah, pretty sharp cutoff there from Brett, but that is kind of what's happening. Everyone's imploding, and right now the Islanders are trying to stop themselves from imploding. It seems like, right, Arthur? Is that kind of where we're at as far as the standings go?
Pretty wild that they can just lose 2 in a row, and all of a sudden, because just the volume of teams that are below them, somebody gets hot or a couple somebodies get hot. I don't even know if you could say Washington's got hot. They've won a couple in a row. Columbus has been hot.
Yeah.
But yeah, you you can't lose 3 in a row at this point in the year, and this is the danger they're in tonight facing Pitt. Sidney Crosby has owned the Islanders for a long, long time, so you need to be able to come through with a decent game tonight. And just seeing the reaction from last night, the game they played against Nashville over the weekend, it was a 1-goal loss, but they were horseshit pretty much from the start. They were up 2-0 early, didn't do much. Had a goalie interference goal taken off the board that could have given them the lead late, but they didn't really deserve a lot of breaks in that game, and then gave up the losing goal in the final 2 minutes of regulation. Just was kind of a shit performance. This Washington game, they were okay, but I think a warning sign for me is how David Rittich has played since Ilya Sorokin came back from injury right after Christmas. Rittich, we talk about, I've been thrown out clear sight's goal saved above expectation. Rittich's down there with Quick and Bobrovsky since the turn of the calendar year. He's been really bad. I think he's -7 or 8 goals saved above expectation, and hasn't played a ton. Meanwhile, Sorokin's number 1 in the league in that stretch, as he's been number 1 in the league all year. So, it's an easy take to say they just got to ride Ilya Sorokin. He's playing tonight. No doubt he's playing Thursday, the last game before a decent break for him. But out of the break, 24 games to go for the Islanders when they come back, 7 back-to-backs. And I know Rupper and I, we were talking in our group chat about Rittich playing in that game last night, and the deciding goal was an Anthony Beauvillier goal from behind the net where Rittich didn't seal the post.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Goaltending 101 and just goes right in. Like that's a backbreaker at that point in the game. It's demoralizing to see. So, Rupper was saying, you go with the guy who's playing great. I don't know about that. Sorokin's not a guy who's built for 60 starts or anything like that. So my concern is Rittich was real good when Sorokin was out for a couple of weeks. He's been real bad this last month, and you're going to need him over those final 24. You're going to need him a lot, 7 back-to-backs. Yeah. So that's a little bit of a red flag for me, and just not seeing them not score goals. Obviously, they made those small deals for Palat and Soucy, and they both scored goals last week against the Rangers. It was nice to see, but those guys are not here to score goals. And I kind of wonder, obviously it won't happen, don't think it would happen before tomorrow at 4, but when you come out of the break, depending on where the Islanders are, I'm putting the gas pedal to the floor if I'm Matthew Darche. You got to go out and get a scoring winger. They've got to do something to shake up this forward group that's good guys. They all work hard. But, you kind of had that feeling last night at 2-1 Washington that, like, where's the second Islanders goal coming from? The first one was a gift from Tom Wilson right on Matthew Barzal's stick in the slot. Bo Horvat, I think, had 3 breakaways or 2-on-1s. He didn't convert, and that's the guy that's been scoring big goals for you all year. So scoring's been at a premium for them for the last couple of months, and I'm worried, too, a little red flag that if they don't change the mix up front, that scoring is going to be a problem as you get into these tighter games, jam-packed schedule coming out of the break. So I think there's a few warning signs flashing for the Islanders right now.
Rupper, I'll kick it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've talked about the different analytics sites having different measurements and different numbers. Well, I don't know if you have in front of you, Arthur, what ClearSight has for goal save above expected on Sorokin on the season. Do you have it? Because
it's I think he's over 26, and the next closest is second. I think Logan Thompson is next with like 16. He's lapping the field.
Okay, so he's Ilya is number 1
by a long stretch. Yeah,
by a long stretch. That was my point, because the one that I used. Can you guys hear that music playing?
A little bit. Yep.
It's driving me nuts. This TV just in my office just kicks on and just plays random, and it turns off on its own. See, it's off now. Mm-hmm. Someone's fucking with me or something. Anyways, I agree with what you're saying, and I don't fully mean that. I know in our thread I was like, Sorokin's going to have a few weeks off, like run him 3 and 4. And I know that that's not a great situation for any goaltender, let alone maybe a goalie like him that maybe isn't built that way, like you said, Arthur, to do that. But at the end of the day, you're going down the stretch and you've got 7 back-to-backs coming out of break. Like, he leads the league in goal save above expected. So you are in the position you're at because you have the best goalie in hockey. You're going to have to lean into that. And if he can't do it, then he can't do it. I don't know what to say, but we've talked a lot about how this team's been really fun to watch. They have all these intangibles, but at the end of the day, they lean heavily on their starting goaltender. And so, like, you're going to have to do that even more down the stretch to get in. I mean, you're sitting here and you're looking across the board. If you're looking at the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Pittsburgh Penguins, heck, New Jersey, Washington Capitals, I mean, that's your X factor. So I don't know what it looks like, but and this isn't an indictment on Dave Riddick. That is your best player. Like Matthew Schaefer's going to play more down the stretch. Like, you're going to play the wheels off him even more down the stretch. You know what I mean? Matt Barzal's, you're going to need to lean on your guys more. So I don't know what it looks like, but he's got to play. Yeah, I don't know how many of those back-to-backs, but he's got to play them. Like, I think that's the only way they get in. If they're going to go traditional, whatever, one game in those 7 back-to-backs for Ilya Sorokin, and if it's Dave Riddick or someone else, they're not making the playoffs. Like, they're gonna have to do something here, I think, and lean on their biggest weapon.
I'm looking this up as I'm talking. That's why I'm just taking a second here. But I think the biggest thing to Arthur's point about adding a scoring winger, like, the Islanders' power play has dragged them down for years, right? Like, when was the last time the Islanders finished as a top power play in the league? So when you're getting good, like, the Rangers got by over the past couple of years because they got good goaltending on their power play to score. If the Islanders could figure out their power play, they're one of the best teams in the NHL.
Could offset,
So I'm looking at it now, like, just combining the last, like, 3 seasons. Maybe I'll go 4 seasons. But, like, Horvat came over when, in 23-24? Is that when they got Horvat, or was it 22-23?
I think
it was 23-24.
I think so.
Yeah. But, since then, and technically there are 33 teams because the Arizona Coyotes, I guess, count. But the Islanders are 31st when it comes to power play percentage over the course of the last 3 years. Like, their power play has been one of the worst in the league consistently. So, to Arthur's point, again, Darsh has to go out and not only get a scoring winger, but get someone who could help this damn power play. Simon Holmstrom, a lot of nice things to say about him. Great player, good at his job, perfect middle six guy. Probably doesn't belong on the power play, right? Like, it's not. If he's on your first power play, it's not necessarily all that dangerous. Andre Palat, probably not on the first power play on a good team. But so these conversations are confusing too, because the Islanders, again, on paper, not a great team. So it's like, it's one of those things that's so confusing because the games happen and we get so caught up in it and the emotion of it, and you want to see the good play be rewarded and you want to see playoff hockey, but you have to tune it back with the organization, with where they're at, with what their goals and plans are. This year was not a year that they had to make the playoffs, but because they're doing this, it feels like it almost is like a playoff or bust, when in reality it's not. It's a confusing, all these things. You don't think so?
I disagree.
Feels like playoff or bust now.
Before the season, yes. They were fully in evaluation mode. I totally get it. But you've got, and Rupper's made this point before, I've made this point before, you've got Schaefer changing the dynamic. You've got a kid who has got 2 more years on his entry-level deal where you have a lot of cap space to play with because of that, until he's going to eat up a lot of it. And you've got a goalie having a Dominik Hasek type season. And I'm not speaking hyperbolically that way. Like, his numbers, you compare them to Hasek's historically, he's right in line. Like, it's dominating numbers. His goal save
numbers are way better. Hey, his numbers are way better than who won the Hart Trophy in the Vezina last year.
Yeah. Not even close. So you have to take advantage of that. You can plan all you want, but when the reality of the season goes, and the reality of everybody else's season, where you're ahead of some teams that were thought to be better, whether it's Wash or Pittsburgh's kind of having an unexpected season. The Rangers, nobody thought would be down where they are and kind of giving up again. Nobody thought the Devils would be down where they are. You have to take advantage of that. There's nobody in the East that scares you. We've said this a million fucking times. And I'm not advocating for going out and trading for Steven Stamkos. I'm not saying go get a 36, 37-year-old guy. I'm saying be aggressive with the assets that you have, whether it's, the names that we've thrown out there, whether you can pry Jordan Kyrou out of St. Louis, Is there anybody else? Do you even look at, it's crazy to think, do you look at Brock Besser? I know he's signed for 1 million years, but he's a guy who puts the puck in the net, and Vancouver stinks and they're looking to retool. He's a scoring winger. He may not fit exactly what the Islanders need, but you have to start thinking about not just this year and be aggressive for this year. Find somebody who can be in that spot for a lot of years to come. And I understand the Islanders have good assets. They're planning for the future. You can do both of those things. Everybody, a lot of people always say you have to choose. You can either be an aggressive buyer, contender, or you can be a seller, and there's nothing in between. There's a lot in between for me. Yeah. There's a path you can walk down to be good this year, be aggressive, reward these guys, take advantage of what you've got that's happening, and also add somebody that's going to prolong it, that's going to be good next year and the next year and the next year. And you just keep, this is what Tampa does. They make these aggressive moves. We were talking about it before. They go out and get a Brandon Hagel, and they're willing to trade their first round pick. And they make sure that they extend him at a number that works for them. And all of a sudden, this guy's an Olympian on their roster. So, Nick Paul, Barclay Goodrow, Yanni Gourde, they've made these moves because you keep the window open now, and you also are strategic for what's to come. So, Matthew Darche learned under Julien Brisebois. So I would hope that that's the thing that he learned the most, which is you can win now and win later as long as you're aggressive. Yeah. And I think they need to do it.
Can I ask you guys a straight up question? Rupper, I feel like you want to say something. I'll let you go first because I don't know.
No, I'm good.
Go ahead. So just from today, don't think about before the season. And listeners, reminder, I'm not a math person, so I'm just going to take a guess here at what these guys are pacing at. If I told you today, Matt Barzal finishes the year with 23 goals, 70 points. Matthew Schaefer finishes with 20 goals, 55 points. Bo Horvat finishes with 33 goals, 80 points, and the Islanders missed the playoffs. Is that a successful season? Yes or no?
No.
I still think yes.
Wait, when you theoretically saying this to me?
What?
Last season? Or
no, today. Like those guys all play pretty much, all have great years. Matthew Schaefer completely exceeds expectations. I'm saying, if all three guys perform like that and the team misses the playoffs, I still think it's a successful year from at least we know what we have.
If all three guys finish like that, you got the best.
And Sorokin get a Vezina too.
You've got bigger problems than we thought. You know what I mean? That's you've got a lot of holes then. Because if all three of those things would be true. What's that?
The other part too. Sorry, Rupper. The other part too is the thing that's killed them in recent years too is they've missed Adam Pelech for 20 plus games. They've missed Ryan Pulock for 20 plus games. Those guys have been healthy and pretty good all season long. I understand they give up too much, but they're solid and they've been available. You got to take advantage of that. That's not going to happen again. These guys are aging into categories. Scott Mayfield, you can throw him in there too, although he's been a little less steady.
Well, Tony D, what he's doing for you?
Yeah, is he gonna duplicate that in the future?
Right.
I think you have to project out too, and I understand those numbers are all good. And Bo Horvat has earned a spot on the Olympic team, and Matthew Barzal as a 70-point guy is probably as good as you're going to get in this team, with the guys that he's got around him. But you can't measure the success on those three guys having decent individual seasons, because this is a team that we've said it often. They've got to have everybody with 10 goals that plays, or 12 goals. That's the ideal Islander style, is that everybody's contributing. And you look at the guys that have been in scoring droughts. I don't know if Anders Lee has a goal in 2026. Jonathan Drouin hasn't scored a goal, I think, since the first month of the season.
Drouin is getting more shit online than Michkov.
Yeah, which is crazy to me. And we talked about it, that this is who he is. Yeah. He wasn't brought here to score goals. Duclair's cooled off. Simon Holmstrom has been too inconsistent. This is the bulk of your lineup. Those three guys having good years is one thing separate. And obviously, if you looked at that, if you said to me, those guys have those numbers and they missed the playoffs, I would say, well, their goaltending was shit and they had a lot of injuries. But as it happens, their goaltending, their number one goalie is the best goalie in the world, and they haven't had that many injuries. So now what's the excuse? I understand Kyle Palmieri's out, and he's a guy who's a volume shooter and a scorer, and Romanov's out. But this team is, as it's constituted right now, the way that they played, they need to be a playoff team, and the way to do that is start adding some younger bodies in there that score goals and energize the group, because where are you otherwise?
So is that a really stupid question? You think I pissed fans off with that one?
No,
I mean,
no,
it's not. You hate the Islanders, so what difference does it make?
No, I mean, but I think the reason why you can't accept that is because for the 9 millionth time, the East is wide open. So if it's not now, when? Like, when are we gonna? I mean, Jesus, this is.
If Panarin goes to Tampa, is the East still wide open?
I was gonna say, could we expect Toronto to be like this again? Maybe we very well may be able to. But the Florida Panthers, there's a lot of question marks, man. So yeah, I don't know. I'm with Arthur. I think you got to make a move here and kind of push your chips in.
All right. Well, I guess we'll find out a little bit more this week. Couple big games. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up today, guys?
I'm depressed, man.
Yeah,
a lot of negativity this week.
Yeah. But hopefully we got some more positive stuff to talk about on Friday. As always, our show is presented by Novig, the future of sports betting. On Novig, you play against other real users, not the house. And it's the only commission-free exchange, so you keep every dollar you win. You'll get better odds than traditional sports books, meaning you're 10 times more likely to win in the long run. Choose the best odds or offer your own. Trade Novig coins for fun or Novig cash to win real prizes. Sign up with code Daily Faceoff in all caps to get $50 in Novig coins when you spend $5 on your first purchase. Available in most states. You must be 21 or older to play, with no purchase necessary. With that, that's going to wrap up today's show. Lots of big games coming up here. Islanders, Devils on Thursday. Devils, Columbus tonight. Islanders, Pittsburgh tonight. Rangers, Hurricanes Thursday. That game doesn't matter for shit. We'll talk to you on Friday. We love you and have a great week. Hope you enjoyed that video, and if you want to see some more Tri-State hockey content, don't forget to leave a like and comment on the video below, and also subscribe to the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel.